اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحور أعدائنا ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم بدد شملهم وفرق جمعهم وشتت كلماتهم وزلزل أقدامهم وسلط عليهم كلبا من كلابك يا قهار يا جبار يا منتقم يا الله يا الله يا الله. اللهم يا منزل الكتاب يا مجري السحاب يا هازم الأحزاب اهزمهم 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 وانصرنا عليهم.
Testing 1 2 3. Let's see whether my voice is clear enough. Testing 1 2 3. Right. So yeah, I think my voice should be clear enough. Yes. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to my live stream from your favorite Muslim Apologist channel, the Muslim Apologist, and I'm your host, MENJ. Yes, it's been a while since I've come online for a full session, right? So I think it has been about a month plus, I think. Well, because I've been busy with work and all. So I'm going to switch on my camera. Oh yeah, right. So yeah, I am, right? So I'm going to adjust the camera a bit to make sure that everything's. Yeah, I think this is fine. Yeah. So yeah, I hope everyone is well, inshallah. And yes, of course, let's go to the agenda of this live stream. So basically, we're going to be talking about the events that has transpired in Syria, and the fall of the Assad's regime. Oh, that was a surprise. Okay, and the stunning victory of the rebellion. Okay, yeah, there's some Star Wars references there. And yes, of course, the rise of the HTS, yeah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams. And yes, but of course, before we go into detail, oh yeah, by the way, before I continue with that, before I play the intro, our live stream here will be joined with our brother Islamic Calling. So he told me just now that he'll be running late. Let me check the message here. Yeah, he just gave me a emoji reply. So yeah, so anyways, he'll be coming in, but he'll be about 10 minutes to 15 minutes late. So while we're waiting for him, I will of course continue with the stream. He says it's fine. Okay, he said that it's fine that I continue with the stream, but we'll accommodate him when he joins in. All right. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, give me a swig. Let me take a swig at this first. And yes, okay, before we continue, cue in intro. Yeah, so we are back again, and the live stream has been running for about 5 minutes, and we have 2 viewers right now. Okay, I'm actually expecting a bit more. Hopefully, there will be more as more people join the stream. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Things we are still going to be waiting for more people. All right. And I think in the chat there's a comment now. Okay, from brother Kof FF channel. Yeah. Walaikum salam, what brother Muhammad. It's good. Always good to see you, mashallah. I hope that you are here right now. Not sure what time is it now in the UK. Okay. Let me ask my my Google Nest. Hey Google, what time is it now in London?
The time in London, United Kingdom, is 1:21 p.m.
Oh, it's 1:21 p.m. in the afternoon. So I think it shouldn't be a problem for you to come in. I hope. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. While we are waiting for Brother Islamic Calling, I'm going to play the timeline, okay, of events from Syria's war and how and the events that transpired leading to what happened, what is currently happening now. Okay. So let me share my screen. Hopefully I won't be copyright struck because yeah, this involves a bit of copyright. So maybe I will be pausing in between the videos so that so that it doesn't cause any copyright triggers. All right. Okay. So maybe if I put my face, oops, sorry. Yeah, if I put it like this, maybe perhaps they won't copyright strike me. All right. I mean, or they won't claim copyright on this video. All right. Oh, brother Cyrus is here. Walaikum salam warahmatullahi. It's always good to see you, brother. So I'm going to play parts of this video, and I'll be stopping in each section and to explain what actually transpired. Because for one thing, I need to explain to the audience what actually happened in Syria. For the second reason is that I don't want this is from TRT. So if we take videos from TRT, they might actually claim copyright upon this video, and the whole stream might collapse, okay, because of that, because of this. So I'm going to make sure that we make fair comment on each section or each part of this video, inshallah. So let's begin. All right.
Pro-democracy protests against the Assad regime erupt in Daraa and spread nationwide. War is triggered after regime forces initiate violent crackdowns on protesters, killing hundreds. As war spreads, thousands flee to neighboring countries, including Turkey. US imposes sanctions on Assad and other regime officials for human rights abuses. Assad forces kill hundreds in Hama in one of the war's deadliest massacres. Arab League suspends Syria's membership and approves sanctions over the regime's failure to end the war.
Okay, so basically, what transpired during this course of events is, well, it started from the Arab Spring. As we know, the Arab Spring happened or began in Tunisia when this one person, I don't remember his name, immolated himself, and this triggered widespread protests in Tunisia against the government to the point that the dictator at the time, again, I've forgotten his name, I think it's Ben Ali or something, I don't remember his name. He had to flee to Riyadh, and then the government in Tunisia fell, and yeah, basically the people won. So because of this protest, this idea for change, this spark of change spread across the Arab world, especially. So series of protests erupted across the Arab world, in Egypt, in Jordan, Bahrain, not in Saudi, unfortunately. I think it was in Yemen too. Not in the Gulf countries. And I think in Syria, of course, and not in Lebanon, unfortunately. So the most intense protests outside of Tunisia was Egypt, and then the Hosni Mubarak government fell because of that. And then the next one was Syria. Now the Syrian events was interesting because that from protests it actually became a civil war, which did not happen in the other two countries that I mentioned, because in Tunisia the protests forced the collapse of the government, and the takeover was relatively peaceful after that. In Egypt, it was a similar thing when Morsi stepped up, but unfortunately, things didn't go so well after that. But that's a different story for another day. But in Syria, instead of causing the government of this dictator Assad to fall, it sparked a civil war instead. So that is why in this video, as you can see, of course, before the civil war happened, Assad clamped down on the protesters. Okay, mostly they were peaceful protests, but Assad clamped down on them violently. The worst was at Hama when the massacre happened, and because of this, the Arab League, the UN, and the US government, etc., they started imposing sanctions on the regime. Okay, so okay, let's continue playing this video.
Regime forces intensify their bombardment of Homs, resulting in significant civilian casualties. Regime accused of war crimes by UN after massacre in Hula village, Homs, where over 100 civilians were killed, nearly half of them children. Weapons of mass destruction used on populated cities as fighting reaches capital Damascus and largest city Aleppo, signaling a significant escalation in the war. Death toll passes the 20,000 mark. Turkey presents a three-tier plan, including a no-fly zone, safe civilian zones, and joint ground operations with coalition forces. Regime forces kill over 450 civilians in two separate massacres in Al Bayda and Banyas. Assad regime uses chemical weapons in eastern Ghouta, killing over 1,400 civilians. US and Russia agree to jointly dismantle Assad's chemical weapons stockpile. Fighting intensifies between Turkish-backed Free Syrian Army and Daesh. Iran deploys militias to help Assad as first round of UN-brokered peace talks in Geneva fail.
Yeah, as you can see, things escalated very quickly after 2011, and then this evil regime, the former evil regime of Assad, used chemical weapons upon his own civilians, okay, causing thousands to die, okay. And yeah, unfortunately, I frankly, I don't like the Americans to get involved, but they were. So but anyways, then as you can see, there was rounds of UN brokered peace talks, but that didn't quite work out. Okay. Oh yeah, before I continue, there's this brother. Yeah, brother Dread Inside. Walaikum salam warahmatullahi. I hope that you stick around and watch the live stream. Okay. We are still waiting for brother Islamic Calling to come in. I'm not sure where he is right now. So hopefully he will come in soon after the this video has completed, so that we can continue with the commentary. All right. So anyways, let's continue.
Second round of UN-brokered peace talks in Geneva fail. Daesh declares a global caliphate with major territories in Syria and Iraq, renaming itself the Islamic State. US-led coalition launches airstrikes against Daesh targets in Syria, marking the beginning of direct US military involvement. Anti-regime groups, including Al-Nusra Front, seize Idlib city, marking opposition control of a provincial capital.
So yeah, I think around 2015 there were so many groups in Syria going against the Syrian regime, the dictatorial regime, and unfortunately even between themselves. Okay, so there's Daesh, there's Free Syrian Army. I think there's also Kurdish group as well, and then there's several other smaller groups, I think, which are affiliated to one of these three largest groups. I frankly, around 2015, 2016, I didn't really follow the Syrian war because it was such a mess that I myself don't really get it. I don't understand who's fighting whom and who are they against, because they are all fighting against each other. It's like basically like a Mexican standoff. Okay, everyone is fighting each other, and there's no clear victor between any of them. But around this time, I believe that Assad started to ask for help from Russia and Iran. So these two countries got themselves involved in the war. So okay, anyway, let's continue playing this.
Russia begins mobilizing its forces in Latakia as Daesh footprint spreads. Russia launches airstrikes targeting both Daesh and opposition groups. UNSC adopts Resolution 2254, calling for a ceasefire and political settlement in Syria. US and Russian brokered ceasefire comes into effect. Turkey initiates Operation Euphrates Shield to secure its border from Daesh and PKK YPG terrorists. Regime forces backed by Russia and Iran regain control of Aleppo. Russia initiates a Astana peace process with Turkey, Syria, and Iran. Assad kills dozens after dropping sarin gas on Khan Sheikhoun. Russia, Iran, and Turkey agree to establish de-escalation zones during talks in Astana. To continue protecting its border,
Yeah, as you can see, Assad was still continuing with his chemical weapons attacks, and a lot of civilians had to suffer because of it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's continue with this video.
Turkey launches Operation Olive Branch against PKK YPG terrorists. Chemical attacks in Douma lead to joint US, UK, and French airstrikes targeting regime facilities. Regime recaptures Daraa, the
Yeah. So as you can see, more chemical weapons were used by Assad. Yeah. Unsurprising, isn't it?
birthplace of the uprising, consolidating control over the southwest. Russia and Turkey agree to create a demilitarized buffer zone in Idlib to prevent a regime offensive. US kills Daesh leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi in Idlib province. Turkey launches Operation Peace Spring in northeastern Syria against PKK, YPG, and Daesh.
Yeah. So the Turkey was also involved in the war. So they also had. So I guess there were at least four countries involved in Syria's war: Russia, Iran, the United States, and Turkey. Yeah. So so it was really a mess when when outside forces came into their and into get themselves involved into this. Yeah.
Another deal between Turkey and Russia halts a regime offensive in Idlib. Daesh increased its attacks in eastern Syria, signaling a resurgence. Assad's war on his own people enters its 10th year. UNSC extends a mandate for cross-border humanitarian aid to Syria from Turkey. Suicide attack in Damascus kills at least 14 regime forces. Daesh attacks a prison in al-Hasaka, leading to days of clashes with the YPG terrorists and a mass jailbreak. Israel intensifies airstrikes on regime targets, citing threats from Iran-backed forces. Devastating earthquake hits northwest Syria and Turkey, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Arab League readmits Syria, signaling regional efforts to normalize relations with Assad.
Yeah. Between 2022, I think, and 2024. So there was no, sorry, maybe even earlier, about 4 years. So I think it was 2021 to 2024. There was no significant activity from the local rebellion groups because there was this peace treaty between, or ceasefire between the government, the regime at the time, and them. So um, from what I understand, there was no significant uh, battles between government forces and, I mean, the regime's forces and the rebels. Okay, but however, there was still fighting or infighting between these groups. Yeah, so that is why you see this conflict still uh, unresolved even after 2021 or 2022. Yeah.
Protests erupt in southern Syria over deteriorating economic conditions and corruption. US announces a drawdown of troops in Syria, shifting focus to countering Daesh through regional partners. Turkey conducts airstrikes against PKK YPG targets in northern Syria following attacks on its territory. Russia intensifies airstrikes in southern Idlib, targeting opposition controlled areas despite ceasefire deals. UN reports record levels of food insecurity in Syria, with over 12 million people facing hunger. US carries out drone strikes targeting Daesh in eastern Syria. Turkey increases operations in northern Syria to stop PKK YPG terrorists from infiltration. Regime airstrike targets anti regime groups in Aleppo, causing widespread casualties. Talks in Astana between Russia, Turkey, and Iran failed to achieve a consensus on Idlib's future. Armed anti-regime groups
This is where things got interesting, and from November 2024 onwards, the rebellion in Idlib. So by then, Idlib was being ruled by what we now know as HTS, and they had formed, I would say, an alternative government called the Syrian Salvation Government. So they were running things in the Idlib province. And from November 2024, they suddenly launched an offensive towards Aleppo and Homs and all these cities. So which is why, which led us to what is currently happening in Syria. Yeah, so let me continue with the video because we are going to just about to end the video.
groups initiate a major offensive against Assad forces, capturing Aleppo and Homs. Assad and his family flee the country after armed anti-regime groups capture Damascus.
Yep, and that's it. Yeah. So I think we are up to speed as to what actually transpired in Syria. I'm still waiting for brother Islamic calling to come on. He hasn't been replying yet. Brother Muhammad has messaged us here. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. I hope you're still around. Okay, so so I think I hope that the video that I played pretty much explained what transpired in Syria before the current events as they are happening now. Okay, so HTS took over Damascus. Okay, Assad has fled. Bashar al-Assad, the dictator, has fled, and he's currently in Russia. Unfortunately, he's still alive, as far as I know, because someone asked in the comments whether Assad was still alive. Unfortunately, the answer is yes, he's still alive, as far as I can tell. And I think things are still starting to stabilize in Syria, but unfortunately, that pesky Zionist neighbor next door, they are starting to, they're starting to move into Syrian territory. Okay, basically moving forward from Golan Heights, which they captured in the 1967 war, and they're moving towards the buffer zone, which was supposed to be a no man's land between Syria and that pesky Zionist neighbor, which I will not mention their name, and I think you know who they are. And they have bombed several locations in Syria, even some near Damascus as well, which is unfortunate because the government has just re-established itself. The Syrian Salvation Government has just started to reconstitute itself in Damascus, and they're trying to get things back to normal. But unfortunately, that pesky Zionist neighbor next door, they are just trying to undermine these efforts. Some Muslims, I believe there are some people, not just Muslims, there were some people on YouTube whom I've watched who seem to imply that Israel was that Zionist entity was involved in the rebellion and had somehow helped the rebels to seize power in Damascus. I personally don't believe so. I don't think that Israel has any interest whatsoever to see HTS or the rebellion to gain power, to take over from Assad, because I believe that the Zionist entity is pretty much comfortable with the status quo, basically allowing Assad to remain in power, because with Assad there, they can keep Syria destabilized and the people of Syria disunited, and because of this, Syria will not be effective enough to go against that Zionist entity, or even to help the Palestinians. Because you have to understand one thing: Syria, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, these regions were once one sanjak, okay, or one territory under Ottoman rule. So you see, the thing is, there was never, if usually, you know, Zionist apologists, they will say, oh, there was no Palestine before, before 1948. So, I mean, before the British mandate even. So our answer to this is, well, there was no Palestine because, you know, Palestine was simply part of a territory called al-Shams, but that doesn't mean the region called al-Shams did not consist of several people. So we had Syrians, we had Lebanese, or what we now know as Lebanese, Jordanians, and Palestinians living together in one land called al-Shams, you see. And the whole region was, you know, the concept of nation states did not exist at the time. So obviously there was no independent, there was no nationalistic intent from the people whom we now know as Palestinians, because basically they were just the same peoples. Okay, well, until the Zionist entity started exporting people from Western and Eastern Europe into the region, and, you know, usurped power by maneuvering through the League of Nations at the time, and you know, partitioning under the guise of partition. But you know, we all know the history and how that turned out. And then in 1967, they seized land from the Palestinians, and here we are today. You see, after 70 plus years, Palestinians still do not have their own country or their own land. Okay, and it's very unfortunate because, you know, these people are not even from the region; they are from Europe. Okay, they should go back to Europe, as far as I'm concerned. But again, this is for another topic for another day. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting for brother Islamic calling. I'm not sure where he is now. Wait, let me see. Let me see where the brother is. Yeah, give me a moment, all right? Yeah, okay. So finally he's here, mashallah. I just messaged you, brother. Okay. So can I bring you on stage? Let me bring you on stage, mashallah. Good timing, brother. Salam alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam warahmatullah. Good timing. I was just messaging you and asking where you were. But it seems that you have joined us, mashallah. So what I did just now was I played a video from TRT, and it's pretty much summarized the timeline of events for starting from 2011 up until 2024, where we are now, the rebels taking over Damascus. So before I continue playing some videos here, which I've lined up for tonight, my time it is, maybe you can share your thoughts on what's happening in Syria. Maybe you can relate it to what you yourself experienced in Bangladesh, because I believe Bangladesh had a mini revolution as well several months ago. So maybe you can relate. Maybe you can relate that experience as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, what happened in Bangladesh basically is very different than what's going on in Syria, because, for example, in Bangladesh, there was not many like international players that was involved here. It's mostly India. Like India is the only country that was involved, but other than that, there was no like any kind of like international players that was involved.
Right.
I mean, what was going on in Syria was basically kind of like a nightmare scenario, if I'm being completely honest. Like the thing about Bashar al-Assad is that it, like, Syria basically split the Ummah, you know, in a way, because the thing is that on one side you have the Iranian kind of like proxies,
yes,
right, and the Russian and many sadly pro-Palestinians obviously support that side, and on the other hand you have the rebels, and sometimes, for lack of a better word, some of them were actually funded by or supported by the Western hegemony, right? So this definitely did create like a split in the Ummah, which is why it was always very contentious, like as to like who should people support. It basically became very kind of like
In fact, they were not just fighting against Assad; they were also fighting among themselves. See, so it was very confusing for me. I don't know about you, but between 2014 to 2017, 2018, I was very confused, and I just didn't want to know about what's going on there, because it was so confusing and he didn't know whom is fighting whom, and I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, this kind of like civil wars is actually a bit hard to understand, especially during the fog of war. For example, it's a very similar situation to what's happening in like Sudan, for example. Another civil war is going on there, but
Yeah.
unless you actually know like who's
Yeah.
backing who and like what's actually going on, you can't
Exactly.
really know who to support. But one thing is for sure, and I think all Muslims can agree on, is that innocent people were getting hurt.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so I think and everyone, I think almost even the people who support kind of like this Iranian side of things, even they will agree that Assad was a piece of shit. Like, do you agree,
He
right?
was.
Assad is a piece of shit.
I totally agree. I think, Chad, do you agree that
No,
Assad
say
was
he's a piece of shit. Say he's a piece of shit.
say that he's a piece of shit? Yeah, exactly. I hope the chat answers that. But yeah, he was definitely a piece of shit. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. Yeah.
Yeah, eye doctor, mofo eye doctor wannabe, instead of doing eye doctoring, came here to slaughter his own people. And what's worse is that the dumbass couldn't even do his job right. I mean, if you're gonna be a dictator, at least do your job right.
The funny
I mean,
thing
his
was,
whole empire collapsed.
Yeah, he was not even in contention for the president post, because his elder brother was supposed to be the successor to his father. But then his elder brother died in a car accident. I'm not even sure whether there's really a car accident now. But then this eye doctor came along and just fucked up everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna be a scumbag, at least be competent. I mean, because the thing is that the only thing that was keeping him in power was like Russia and Iran. That's it.
Yes, exactly.
The moment they were gone, it's like the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah,
so he wouldn't have survived. Like, I think in 2015, he was about to be defeated already, but because Russia and Iran came in, that couldn't have happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So can I like play some of the share some of the chats, because there's a lot of chats coming in.
Sure.
Okay, so let's start reading them before we go on to the video, another presentation. So brother Dad Inside asks, Assalamualaikum, brother Islamic calling. What time is it now in Bangladesh?
7:48 p.m.
Yeah, around Maghrib or almost Isha.
No,
right?
it's a bit late after Maghrib.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right. So Syria, brother Sydney Football TV, yeah, brother Dia. He came to Malaysia, by the way. Syria is free, baby. Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. And then Takbir, yes.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to add something, which is in relation to Bangladesh.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice with these kind of like dictators is that the first thing they do is that they run away. I mean, this shows their fortitude. This shows their fortitude. That's what happened in Bangladesh, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just Sheikh Hasina and Assad. It's also, I think the Tunisian guy, the guy who what was his name, Ben Ali. He also ran away. He also ran away to Riyadh, and then
one thing I would give Gaddafi is that he didn't run. That's at least one admirable thing about him. He didn't run.
Yeah, he didn't run. Yeah, neither did Hosni Mubarak, by the way, which is, I guess, admirable. Okay, but most of these dictators, even Saddam Hussein didn't run. You see, so that's also I guess a plus point for him in a way. Even though we know what Saddam did, right? But still, okay. Let me play some more comments. Alhamdulillah for the liberation of Syria. This is from brother Sydney Football. Inshallah, Palestine next. Inshallah, Palestine. Inshallah. Yeah, we are all waiting for that to happen. And then brother Cyrus says, agree. I think he agree with your comment just now saying that Assad was a piece of shit. Okay. More than that. Oh, brother Sydney is trying to really flame things. Okay. And then brother Sydney,
he was, honestly. I mean, like, I don't know how to describe people like him or like Netanyahu. And I bet you that if the same thing happened in Israel, Netanyahu will do this exact same thing. He will run on
Yeah.
America.
Definitely.
These
Definitely.
people don't have the fortitude to like fight
The,
or like stay
the
there.
thing is, Assad was an eye doctor. I really don't understand why this eye doctor became such a dictator. He's an eye doctor, for heaven's sake. Doesn't he, recite the what was it called? The Hippocratic Oath, right?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. It's very weird. Yeah. But anyways, okay, Brother Sydney says slaughtered his own people left, right, and center. Yep, exactly. That's what he did. He was the Syrian version of Fir'aun, probably worse. I don't know. Okay. He was a doctor, wasn't he? Yep, an eye doctor. You see, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
he was basically a known eye doctor.
Yeah,
I think he was in UK. He studied in UK.
yeah, he did. Yeah,
And then
that was where he met his wife. Yeah, that was where he met his wife. You see? Yeah,
Yeah.
And then Sydney again, Brother Sydney football. Russia got busy with Ukraine and Iran got busy with the proxies during this ongoing genocide in Gaza. So Bashar had no support. Yeah, I think that was partly the reason why everything suddenly crumbled for him. Yeah,
because another thing to note, it's not just that Russia and Iran kind of like pull off their support. It's also the fact that what's happening in Gaza basically made Muslims around the world very angry. And I think the rebels basically were more energized in a way, and they've been planning this for months. So this was already gonna happen. We just didn't see it, So they chose the perfect moment to strike, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. And then Brother Sydney football says, ha ha ha, yeah, Bashar is the only refugee. Yeah, all the refugees of Syria are coming back except for him. That's the irony, isn't it? Okay.
They should send him to America.
That would be very interesting to see, right? Okay, let me place. Oh, there's a lot of comments here. Without backing, these dictators are nothing. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. By the way, under Bashar, they monitored mosques at Fajr and banned Salat in public. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I'm not sure whether that's. Can we find out whether that's true? Oh, I didn't know that.
Typical behavior for secular dictators because if you allow kind of like religious sentiment to grow, because this is an interesting pattern I've noticed. Whenever there's like a fascist dictator, the religiosity in that area usually increases, probably because of the oppression. I don't know.
Yes.
Because the same thing happened in Bangladesh, right? Like, for example, when Awami League was in power, there was all kind of Islamophobic narrative in the media. But for some weird reason, people were becoming more and more religious. Like, girls were wearing hijab more, and the culture was just generally changing. Yes. And I think this created a push from the inside out, and the movement basically grew. And I think this is what happens, because when you try to oppress a religious group, they're going to be more energized and fight even harder.
Yeah.
And I think similar things happened in Syria, where they were trying to do this nonsense, where they're arresting, like even in Bangladesh, they were arresting a lot of kind of like notable scholars who ever criticized the Sheikh Hasina regime.
Yeah. And
that even angered people even more. And when the time came, everyone was on the streets.
By the way, if you don't mind me asking, did Hasina ever try to restrict the mosque or try to prevent anything, the adhan or anything of the sort from the mosque in Bangladesh? Did she do that?
She didn't restrict like mosques or anything, but she definitely arrested like notable scholars. Arrested them, basically put them in prison, basically known as Ainaghar. Very similar to what Assad did with his political prisoners. Basically made them disappear completely in a secret prison. And they were tortured for years in some cases. And we still don't know what happened to some of the people that were missing or taken by the government, because not all the facilities have been discovered.
You don't?
Yeah. Can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I know there's something on my mic. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's why I was fixing it. But anyways, okay. So yeah, I was just asking. Yeah. So she what she did in Bangladesh was restricting the ulama, basically, right?
Hmm. And not
Oh,
just
okay.
that, obviously, there was the infamous incident of what happened in Shapla Chattor, where basically it was a massacre. She basically carried out a systematic massacre, by the way, not just like some random shootings. She turned off all the electricity, the internet, and then it was a massacre. And in similar things happened in Syria, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is what happens, and because you can like like you can't think possibly that you're gonna oppress this amount of people and they're just gonna stay silent. Like this is never gonna happen. And I
Mm,
think she knew, like, and what's funny is that she had like 15 years of rule, and I think Bashar al-Assad had like 25 years or something,
mm,
right?
okay.
So they had such a long period of time to like rule the people and do right things. Instead, they stole money, buy Rolls Royals. Like, did you see like Bashar al-Assad's like garage?
Yeah,
It's full of
I
like
did.
all
Yeah.
these Rolls
Oh,
Royals.
my cars. Yeah, and look at the palaces that
Muscat.
he built. My God,
Yeah, yeah,
it's so lavish. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
The
And
people are
Hasina basically, yeah,
hungry.
Hasina, yeah,
Palace is like. What about
yeah.
Hasina?
Yeah, Hasina and her cronies basically stole nearly $150 billion from the country's like treasury,
My
and
God,
built like lavish palaces outside of the country.
why am I not surprised?
It
Then where?
basically completely broke the country's economy. You know, in a
My
way,
God.
and we're still recovering from that.
I hope your country recovers soon, inshallah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
inshallah, inshallah.
I think things are much better now in Bangladesh, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Now, of
okay.
course, like I think Assad had more time to be even more cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Hasina didn't develop to that period, that point
Mm-hmm.
yet, but she was heading that direction. Like things were
Mm-hmm.
really bad here, but
Mm-hmm.
it was never as bad as Syria because
Because
she,
Sira, you say you have to keep in mind, it started from his father, Hafez al-Assad. So
yeah, yeah,
Hafez al-Assad was
yeah.
the one who
Same thing
started
here. That's the interesting part.
it. Okay.
The
Really?
the fascist regime actually started from Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the so-called founding father.
But he's a
Uh,
founding father.
yeah, yeah, so-called founding father.
Okay.
That's the funny
Okay.
part. you know.
Okay. Okay.
So I find it really interesting how similar these two situations are.
Okay. I think we should
Because
we should one day we should do another live stream about Bangladesh, brother. It sounds very interesting. It can be like a different
yeah,
live stream
so
about
basically,
Bangladesh.
basically, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, basically, he obviously, like, no one can deny that he did play a massive role in the liberation of the country. But what
Okay.
happened afterwards is that he basically silenced or killed any of his opposition. And
Oh.
it is well known that he had a private military. It's known as Rocky Vaini. They would often go around and just randomly shoot people, anyone they thought was like against Sheikh Mujib.
Oh, really?
And
Mm,
people,
mm,
they're notorious for that. and
mm.
and also there was a book by I think he's a historian. His name is Amar Toshen, and if you read it, he basically describes how the amount of money that his party members stole at that time
My
kind
God.
of led to a famine in Bangladesh, which led to like millions of people being getting killed. And while
Mm,
people were getting killed, Sheikh Mujib was basically having like a buffet dinner in his house. You know,
okay. My God. Yeah, that's
yeah.
horrible, man.
And I think it is known that he killed nearly 60,000 opposition party members
Really?
using his kind of like Rocky Vaini.
Yeah,
Uh,
but the sad thing about what happened after that was that wasn't his whole family shot by
yeah,
those who
yeah,
tried
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what led to his execution. You know,
I see. I
so
see. Okay.
so
Okay.
so so he was terrorizing. And what's funny is that when he died, like no one like
Okay.
cried or anything. People were
Oh,
happy, and
oh
that's the
really?
interesting
Oh,
part.
oh
Yeah,
my
you would
God.
think that the founding father, if the founding father dies, people would be upset, but
Yeah.
people were just generally happy. You know?
I think we must do another live stream about Bangladesh next time, brother. I want to hear about
Yeah,
this next time.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
So,
do it next time, inshallah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's continue with the reading of the comments. So, okay, brother Sydney says very anti-Islam stock shit. I think he's talking about Basra, secular bastard. Okay, then now there's this question by brother Cyrus. Maybe you want to answer it, or I can answer it actually. anyone knows what exactly are the Alawis' beliefs and isn't Assad and Alawite? Do you want to answer that, or do I want to answer that? Do you want me
Yeah,
to?
yeah. So there's a live stream that happened between Jake the Muslim Metaphysican and Brother Knowledge North. It's a really good live stream. Brother Knowledge North breaks down some of it.
Yeah.
And there's another video by Yasir Qadi, although I don't agree with Yasir Qadi on many things, but I think he describes their belief quite well.
I watched Yasir Qadi video and
By the way, we could react to some of it if you want.
Maybe next
basically,
Yeah.
maybe next time.
Yeah.
Basically, their belief is very extreme. So, first of all, the 12 Shias are extreme in their belief, right?
Yes.
Deviant, sometimes straight up kufr.
Yes.
And they are even more extreme than them.
The Ghulat.
You know?
Yeah, they're the Ghulat. Yeah.
This-
And both Shia, we believe this. Both Shia, 12 Shia scholars and Sunni scholars call them Ghulat. So,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Ghulat means extreme. Okay, so yeah, they're more extreme. Imagine this: the 12 Shia who are already extreme calls the Alawi or the Nusayris extreme as well, more extreme.
Yeah.
So they are more extreme than the extremists. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's you want to continue?
I think it's fair to say that a lot of scholars say that he is not a Muslim. So, and I tend to agree, because if you actually go deeper into what they actually believe, they literally believe that Assad, like Bashar al-Assad, was like the manifestation of God. Like they genuinely believe this, some of them.
Okay.
And so there's no doubt, like there's a kufri element there.
Yeah, and then there's I believe the Alawi or the Nusayris, they believe in the Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, they believe in Trinity.
Yeah, they
So
believe in the Trinity. They also believe that God can manifest in people.
people,
Like
they don't believe
Assad
in,
and other things.
and they don't believe in the hereafter like we do. So they don't believe in heaven and hell, and they believe in the reincarnation.
Yeah.
So it's totally
Absolutely.
I think they are worse than the Kaidanis. You see, they're worse than
Yeah.
the Kaidanis. I would say they are worse than the Kaidanis, and I consider the Kaidanis to be bad enough. Okay, so this is even worse than that. Okay, so
Mhm.
yeah.
But should we react to some more videos?
I
Do you
think we
have any
should.
more?
I think you know what,
Yeah.
we should actually do a reaction video to the Alawi or the Nusayris, about the Nusayris.
No, I mean right now.
Right now, you want to do it right now?
Yeah.
React to the
Don't you have
Nusayris.
any? Not on Nursaris, just on the regarding the news.
Yes. No, I want to play the comments first
Yeah.
before I continue with the news. Okay, there's so many comments here, so let me finish them first. Okay.
Okay.
I heard that the NHS in the UK are worried about losing Syrian doctors and they may all go back. Well, good luck to the UK, because you're not going to get free labor anymore. Okay. Yeah, free medical labor. Yeah. Good luck to you then. Okay.
They're gonna lose all the doctors, all the engineers. They're gonna go back.
Yeah, actually, one interesting is that I watched this several days ago. We do have a small Syrian refugee population here in Malaysia. Okay, and the thing is, which I find quite amusing, is that most of them do not want to go back to Syria, because they are so comfortable with their life in Malaysia. Because in Malaysia we have, especially our food, our cuisine. So there was one guy who said, so he related this story. He told his eldest, because he told his eldest son that they might go back to Syria. At the time when they came to Malaysia, his son was just 2 years old. So now his son, I think, is about 15 or 16, I think. So when he told his son that they might go back to Syria because of what's currently going on in Syria, his son replied that this was in a news clip, by the way. His son replied that what am I going to do in Syria? I don't know anyone there. I love the food here. I love nasi lemak. Can we find nasi lemak? Nasi lemak is a Malaysian dish, by the way. Can we find nasi lemak in Syria? And one thing I noticed about the Syrian refugees here is that they can speak the local language very fluently. Very fluent Bahasa Malaysia. Okay, very fluent Malay. Okay. So I don't think that the Syrian refugees here are going to go back to Syria anytime soon.
Well, I mean, it's an opportunity for Malaysians to open like nasi lemak shops in Syria.
Yeah, maybe perhaps. Yeah, I think it should be something that they would think about. But I don't know. Maybe I don't think they will go back to Syria anyway. I think they're already comfortable with the life here, and I think some of them have businesses here. And they just love the country, and I can understand why. So I mean, I guess hopefully we won't lose our Syrian population, because I find them to be dutiful citizens to the country. We benefit from them as well as they have benefited from us. So I hope that the community will remain here. I mean, I personally would want the Syrians to remain here. Yeah, those who have come from Syria, that is. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
now of course, like that being said, like if someone wants to go to Syria, because there is need for do jihad still there. So
Okay.
because the thing is that there, Israel's still there,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if someone wants to go there to do jihad, we should have obviously tell them to.
But I think that we need to wait for the government to announce that, because for their government to announce that, because we can't go jihad unless with the orders of the Amir, right? So that's
Yeah, no, I mean, like they're already in conflict with like various different
yeah,
forces, and definitely with Israel, because
yeah.
uh,
We'll see what happens, right? Yeah, I
yeah,
guess we need to see what happens. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm going to
and
read
of course,
more.
for now, we can be happy that at least Syria is free.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Who is it? Who isn't? Okay. Speaking of which, I don't know whether you noticed or you have watched them, but people like, I don't know, have you heard of Scott Ritter?
Scott
This guy
Ritter,
called Scott,
yeah, yeah,
he's kind of a commentator on Middle East
yeah,
politics.
yeah,
And George Galloway. These people, they don't seem to like it that Assad fell though, which is quite
yeah,
strange
yeah,
because against
yeah.
Israel.
I can explain that.
Go ahead,
I can
Maybe you can say why. Yeah, you can tell us why.
So on YouTube, there are certain commentators that are
Yeah.
very critical of America, right?
Yes.
They're very critical of America. Like, for example,
Yes.
there's this lady, I don't know what's her name, Asian lady, American, I don't know. She did an interview of Daniel Haqiqatjou once.
Oh yes, I know her. What's her name?
Kim Evans or something.
I forgot her name. Yeah, she was a former Mormon, and then she.
I think it's called Kim Everson.
I know. I watched her. I watched her a lot. Yeah, I watched her a lot, but I for God's sake, I can't remember her name now. Okay, I know her. I think
Yeah.
Kim. Yeah, Kim something.
Yeah. So
Something.
basically, Kim Everson, she
Yeah.
is very critical of America and what's America doing with like Israel and whatnot, which is good, which is all good. But
Yeah.
she is also the same person who will say that, oh, nothing's happening to the Uyghurs in China, nothing's happening in Syria, it's all made up and all this, and, so obviously if you just analyze for 5 seconds, you can understand like these
Yeah.
people have an agenda, and she's not the only one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of political commentators that are, and the problem with Muslims is that oftentimes Muslims are not very well educated in regards to how to differentiate
Yeah.
where allegiances are,
Yeah.
built.
Yeah.
So, for example, you will find many people supporting the pro-Palestinian side who are not necessarily genuine or doesn't care about the wellness of Muslims in particular.
Yes.
I would like to call this the Russian grifters.
Okay.
There's another guy, I forget his name, who was also very critical of like of America. Do you
Yeah.
know who I'm talking about? The guy that Danielson, not Daniel.
Which guy?
Jake called out multiple times. I cannot remember his name. Maybe I can look it up.
It's Sneeko. Was it Sneeko?
No.
Not Sneeko.
No. Let me look it up. You read the comments, inshallah.
Okay. Now I'll wait for you. No worries. Yeah. Have you found it yet?
No. You can read. You can read the comments. While I look.
Okay. I'll start reading the comments. Okay. Okay. So, brother Sydney calling. They also monitor the internet so that if anyone said anything against Bashar, they are taken to prison. Okay, I'm not surprised. And they get tortured. Yeah. This is the usual modus operandi of any dictatorship. Okay. Someone says here, okay, this must be, I don't know. MENJ, why don't you get Mr. Chris at Speaker's Corner busted on his Islamic dilemma videos? Who says I'm not? I'm working on it right now. Okay. Then Sydney football. One of the main prisons where they tortured people was in Senaya prison. There were 40,000 plus prisoners who died from torture. Yeah, I saw the videos about this prison. Yeah, it's a very infamous prison. And one thing I found intriguing was that one of the prisoners actually inscribed Ayatul Kursi and surah. I forgot the name of the surah. Which surah was that? But he inscribed the whole thing on a wall. Yeah. So, and also a short dua as well on the wall. So I actually have a photo of it. Maybe I'll share it across soon in the community tab. They crushed the corpses of the prisoners. Oh my God, it's so horrible. He forced them to call Bashar God. Oh really?
Ah,
My God.
I found the name.
Okay,
Can I
let's
share a
continue.
video? Can I share a video?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's continue where you left off. Okay, before I continue reading the rest of the
Yeah.
comments.
Can I share a video if it's okay?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
It's a video from Jake, I believe. Share screen.
Dread Inside asked whether it was Candace Owens.
No, it's not Candid Ones.
It's not Candace. Okay.
Although she is also in this camp. Yeah, so
Okay.
Jake basically made a video on this guy, pro-Palestinian drifter.
So who's this guy that you are talking about? Maybe I know him.
Time ago, Mr. Jackson Hinkle, the great American patriot and lover of Russia and Bashar al-Assad.
Can you guys hear that? Brother? Oh.
Okay.
Did you guys? Can you hear the sound?
Can you play it?
So what does he say? Drop an Orishnik, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but drop a spare Orishnik on Idlib. Wow. And if people don't know what that is, it's basically a missile that has even nuclear capabilities, as far as I understand it. He wants.
You can hear.
Yes,
it?
Jackson Hinkle.
Jason Hinkle. Yeah. So this
Jackson
guy's a
Hinkle.
complete grifter. He's
Okay.
been basically belittling what's happening with the Uyghurs in China. He's been belittling what's happening with the Syrians. And this guy's a complete grifter. And as
He's
Jake pointed out,
He's pro-Palestinian, which is very weird. Yeah.
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 As brother Jake pointed out,
Basically a missile that has even nuclear capabilities, as far as I understand it. He wants it to be dropped on Idlib. Why? Because he is a supporter.
and he's literally saying, "Drop a bomb on Idlib," see in Syria.
Crazy man.
He's the kind of clowns I'm talking
Oh
about.
my God. Oh my
Anyway,
God.
so the point is that they're this kind of people,
Yeah.
and they're clearly paid by Russia. They're clearly paid by Russia. Like it doesn't take 5 seconds to figure that out. They're paid by Russia. Just like people like Piers Morgan is paid by America or Israel.
Yeah,
So this is
definitely Piers Morgan was paid by Israel. There's no question about that. There's no question about that.
So this is what you need to keep in mind of, right?
Yeah.
You cannot just blindly accept things from these people.
Yeah.
And also,
Yes.
the same way, within Muslims, there are political commentators, so-called political commentators, who are getting paid by the Gulf states, right? So they have that interest. And on the other cases, you have people like even on the other side, where people will just basically have a tendency towards other things. Or other nations, so or tendency to, or they're getting paid by Iran, and those people also exist. So you have to understand when you're.
I can think of one comment. I don't know. Have you come across this person called Morandi, Professor Morandi? I think he's being paid by Iran. He's making a lot of comments, but he made a lot of comments about Hezbollah. He's an Iranian, of course, so kind of makes sense. He made a lot of good comments about the Palestinians, but then he started to shift towards supporting Hezbollah, and now he's talking about Assad, the fall of the Assad regime. He's openly supporting Assad, and he's saying that the government and the rebellion right now in Damascus is being sponsored by Israel. He's openly saying that. So who he's being paid by, right? Okay. Yeah.
Israel is paying the rebels so that they can destroy their weapons.
Yeah, doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the sad thing is that I noticed some Muslims were actually saying that HTS was sponsored by Israel. I don't understand why they say
first of all, that's a fallacy. It's known as ambiguity fallacy. Where basically you have an ambiguous statement and then you go to a conclusion that doesn't logically follow.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean by HTS? HTS is a group of subgroups, right?
Yeah.
You have multiple rebel factions and they make up what is now known as HTS.
Exactly.
So even a group, so apparently at one point there was another group that was part of them that left the group.
Yeah.
That was the group that was supposedly taking some money from Israel or whatever. But there's something we need to understand about principles of war in Islam. Right? In Islamic history, there have been many cases where Muslims have allied with non-Muslims.
Yes.
Those incidents have happened.
Yeah.
For example, even in the battle of Badr or on this like other Islamic historical incidents, there were tribes that were allied with Muslims, the non-Muslim tribes.
Yeah.
Even Jews, some Jewish tribes were allied with Muslims, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
one thing you have to understand about warfare is that it's never black and white. Like if you're in a situation of the Syrians, right, and you're getting bombarded by Russia, and you have no weapons, and you have this other country who are horrible, but they're offering you weapons in return, you like pay them some money or whatever, right?
Okay, the enemy of my enemy is my friend,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So what do? Do we die, or do we fight them? Like
Yeah.
at that time, I don't think anyone has the right to blame what the Syrians did, even if they allied with like Israel or America. First, you
Yeah.
have to save your life. Like you saving your life, it's fard
Yes.
kifaya,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I don't think anyone is in the position to blame them, even if they did ally with America or
Yeah.
Israel.
I mean, war. I mean, it's natural that you
Yeah.
ally with someone who's stronger than you in order to destroy your enemy because you are
Yeah,
you are weak, and someone is offering you weapons, even though that person may be an enemy as well. But since they are offering you weapons to destroy your enemy, therefore he becomes your friend. That's normal. Even
Yeah.
in politics, is the same thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And the
yeah,
thing is, of course, like when the time comes, I have no doubt that the Syrian rebel brothers will definitely avenge what's happening in Gaza. But they
Yeah.
need the strength first. They
Yes.
need a country like Turkey to fully like supply them with the weapons they need, right?
Yeah.
But they cannot just headlong just go into suicide.
Yeah.
They have to have enough strength so that they can like fully take on the offensive to Israel. And
Exactly.
inshallah, that will happen. Hopefully.
I hope so too, inshallah. Yeah. Okay, let me continue reading the comments before I start playing the other videos. All right. So let's continue where we left off. Okay, brother Sydney Football says I guess he means Assad. He killed people with chemical weapons. Yep, yeah, we saw that. By the way, Bashar also supplied drugs in the country and made it abundant. Yep, I noticed that as well. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the drug though at this
Also,
time.
another thing, can I mention another thing?
Sure,
A lot of people that are criticizing kind of like HDS and all these other rebel groups for like supposedly, even though it's not true, but supposedly taking money from like America or whatever, right? These are the same people that will support Iran, which has literally almost committed a genocide in Syria.
Yeah.
Like they have killed nearly 200,000 innocent people.
Yeah.
So what? Like that doesn't matter. Like it's okay if the Israelis kill Palestinians, but not it's not okay when the Israelis kill Palestinians, but it's okay when the Iranians do it with the Syrians.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just complete hypocrisy. And if you're a Muslim and you want to be consistent on the Sunnah, then you have to be consistent.
Yes, I
You cannot
agree.
be taking sides.
Definitely.
The Syrians are as red-blooded Muslims as the Palestinians. Like both of their lives matter.
They are from the same region. Okay, they speak the same language, and they are from the Levant, and they're basically one people. You see.
Yeah. And
As I was-
this concept of nations, right? It was made up by Europeans. Like it's not of a Muslim thing.
Exactly. I mean, I was saying
are-
at the beginning of the stream that the Levant was one territory under the Ottoman rule, and there was no Lebanon, there was no Palestine, there was no Jordan, there was no Syria. All these countries were one region called the Levant. You see? Yeah. So, this is a new concept.
The only nation that exists within the Muslim vocabulary is the Ummah.
Exactly.
We are the nation.
Yeah, we are the nation. I am part of the nation. You are part of the nation. Yeah,
Exactly.
Bangladesh is part of the nation. Malaysia is part of the nation. We are all part of the same nation. Yeah.
As some scholars have said, Muslims are a nation of people.
Yes.
So whatever our nation is, we're gonna fight and we're gonna feel sad.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever happened in Syria, I will feel the effects as well. It's the same thing. If whatever happens in Bangladesh, I will feel the same. I will feel the same pain as well. And I believe that if Malaysia suffers the same thing, I believe you in Bangladesh will also feel the same pain as well. So we are one ummah, we are one people, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. See? So yeah. Okay, so let's continue reading some of the comments before I heard Alawism is a branch of Shiaism. Yeah, kind of, but even the Shia, the 12 Shias also call them Gulat, right? So as explained earlier. Then the brother Hourglass says, peace be upon you. Salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam.
And then, wow, Brother Sydney is really going at it. The Assad propagandist. The Syrian resistance is backed by Israel and America. Yeah, I guess we have addressed it. Okay. Assad propagandists also say that the fall of Bashar's regime is good for Israel because Bashar was scary for Israel. Okay, that's really stupid. Yeah, you know. Yeah, maybe you want to comment on this? Assad propagandists also say that the fall of Bashar's regime is good for Israel because Bashar was scary for Israel. Do you believe so, or do you have any thoughts on it?
How? Like, can you explain to me one thing that Bashar al-Assad did that helped the Palestinians? Like one thing?
I can't think of
Like,
anything.
like at least with Iran, like maybe they supplied some weapons, right?
They
But
did.
the thing is that when it comes to like really like doing the fighting, they're the ones who put themselves on their life on the line, right?
Yeah.
Also, it's not like Iran did it for free. Obviously,
Yeah.
they're expecting something, right?
course.
They're expecting good relations, benefits, resources, right?
Yes. of
So
course.
it's not for free. And another thing you need to understand is that if you listen to the way kind of like Hezbollah and all these other Shia militia groups talk about Sunnis, trust me, you'll not like them. Okay, they say horrible stuff about us. Like I was watching one interview where he
Yeah.
was saying that he's gonna chop off the heads of any Sunni he sees. Right, this is the kind of mindset of these crazy people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone is like that, but the militias are like deadly scary. Okay, you don't want them, like you don't want to support them. Trust me.
Yeah. I agree with you. Okay. So, okay, Brother Sydney Bobo again. Facts. The concept of nation state is made up. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Bring back the Khalifa.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. What do you think? I mean, I personally think it's a long way off, but hopefully we are moving towards it because of what.
Yeah, I think it's become more and more viable as time goes on, because I
Yes.
think Muslims are waking up to the fact that the nation state system, it can work. It can be made to work even within the Khilafah system. I think there's a way to make it work.
Yeah,
Whereas
federation, right? Federation, yeah.
like I know it's
Yeah.
let me give you some of my ideas about how a
Go ahead.
Khilafah can be established. Okay, now listen.
Sure.
So basically, the idea is that at the time of the Prophet, there were different tribes, right? Like there were many different tribes.
Yes.
Think of the nation states as different tribes, right?
Yeah.
So if at the time of the Prophet, all these different tribes could come together, why can't the Muslim states,
Exactly.
And we can have a Khilafah like that, just like the tribes had a leader over their tribal leaders.
Yeah, basically a federation of states into one united nation, like
Under
basically,
one leader. Yeah.
like something similar to the European Union, perhaps, but maybe more united than that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be similar to I don't know if that would be most accurate, but yeah, something. I guess it would be similar to United States in a way, because United States does have like federal laws versus kind of like state laws that are different.
Not quite, because they are still they are still a nation of sort. They are united as one. They are basically one tribe. Okay, so it's not really the same thing. But
No. I mean, like I'm
Yeah.
talking about like in terms of like their state level, like they have
Oh,
different laws.
okay. Yes, yeah.
So there are some distinctions there.
Yes.
But
Yeah. So
again, it's hard to tell. Like something like this did exist at one time with like the Ottomans and although it was not exactly a khilafah, but it did exist. So we can definitely go back to that.
that is actually what the Ottomans did, I think, because they had vilayat, right? They had the concept of vilayat. So each vilayat is headed by one leader, and this leader reports to Istanbul, or to Constantinople, and then under the Khilafah. So it's similar to that. Yeah. Okay, and then what else? Brother Cyrus. Assad didn't do jack when being attacked by Israel. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he was too busy guessing his.
Also another thing is that many Israeli leaders, they said that would they prefer Assad over any kind of like Islamist rebels, because they're afraid of Islam, rightfully so.
Exactly. So I really don't understand why people are saying that HTS is funded or is supported by Israel. Doesn't make any sense to me.
By the way, I want to say something, which is that the reason why Israel is afraid of the rebels is the same reason India is afraid of Islamists in Bangladesh. This is why India often used Sheikh Hasina to stifle any kind of like Islamic voices that are a little too out of their comfort zone. The same thing is true for Israel. And trust me, even if you don't see it, they will slowly start to use Mossad and all these other agencies to try to stifle Islamic voices in Syria, even within their HTS leadership. So HTS has to do everything they can to completely wipe out Mossad from that region. And Mossad is very dangerous. And they don't need to just wipe out Mossad completely. We need to wipe out Mossad from entire globe, because they are a massive, massive threat. Just like in Bangladesh, RAW is a massive threat. Because in case you guys don't know, RAW is the spy agency of like India.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know anything. I didn't know before.
Yeah. By the way, Malaysia should be careful as well. There might be RAW agents in Malaysia.
We have a counter intelligence agency in Malaysia, by the way. Yeah. So should I
and I've noticed you guys caught a few Mossad agents, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, thanks to our we call it a special branch. We have a police division in Malaysia called a special branch, and the special branch are involved in covert operations like that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I think in Turkey they also caught a bunch of IDF spies. In Bangladesh, the spy agency also caught a few RAW agents.
Oh, really?
And I think the spy agencies in the Muslim countries need to make some kind of coalition to make like one big network. So
I'm not sure whether that will work, because I'm pretty sure each agency is spying upon each other.
No. Because based on people who have like Sunnah and the kind of like they'll take Islam seriously. Basically a spy agency based on that. To tackle things like Mossad and CIA and all this.
Yes, but I think we cannot hope for that until we actually have a Khilafah or something united, more structural, more solid, more foundational, I guess. Yeah, because right now, each nation state is for itself, even in the Muslim world, unfortunately. So I don't know whether you. I don't know whether you realize this, but several months ago there was a special conference in Riyadh, and this was in November, before the rebels started to attack, started to move forward from Idlib, and Bashar was there. I don't know whether you noticed that, because he was there and he was saying, the world must have the Palestinians, blah blah blah. And
maybe the Gulf leaders needed an eye doctor to check their eyes.
But now the eye doctor is in Russia, so I don't know how they are going to reach out to him. So, anyways, okay, let me read out. There's a few more comments here before we continue. Okay. Let me see now. Okay.
By the way, bro, we should get to the videos. By the way, it's getting pretty late. I don't know.
Let me read a few more of the comments. Right. So, Brother Sydney says, even something like the NATO helps. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we need unity. We actually have OIC.
Can I say something?
Okay.
I actually don't agree with that.
You don't agree with
something like NATO will help.
You don't agree with that? Why?
No, because the thing is that in order for you to have something like a NATO, you will need Islamic law in most of this land, because otherwise, how do you unite these people?
So
and the armies, they all have like their own agendas based on their own nation, so it's not gonna work. Especially under a secular system, you can have a coalition of like Muslim government that are based on Islamic law. Then you can have a coalition because they agree on Islam, right?
Yeah, we have that. It's called OIC, but I don't know what OIC is doing.
I'm not talking about OIC. OIC is basically infiltrated by CIA and all this other kind of stuff. But my point is that, like, I'm talking about
countries
like Afghanistan, or like countries that are not clearly not backed by the Western powers.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But within that, you can have a coalition.
Okay, let me read a few more.
Another reason I want to mention this is because even if you had like this kind of like armies, right? In order to like fight them, like first of all, most of these countries don't have the kind of weapons that we need. But what we can do is we can do like something like what I mentioned, like a spy agency that can work in the shadows and then slowly remove targets. I think that would be more effective, because if we try to fight them head on, we simply don't have that kind of weapons, But if we slowly weaken them from the inside out, it becomes much easier to fight them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, let me read a few more of the comments before we move on to the videos. Brother Sydney says we need unity. Yeah, we barely do need that. Yeah, we have OIC, but OIC is basically ineffective. I don't know what OIC does. Okay. Brother Dad Inside said, I think the Mexican cartels are more violent than Assad in torture. I wouldn't say that because I think Assad did a lot
I mean,
in
I
prisons.
don't. I mean, they're like a criminal organization.
Yeah,
Assad is supposed to be a
yeah.
secular leader.
Assad pretty much behaves the same way as the Mexican cartels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, brother Cyrus again. Did you hear about the Saudi 80s in Germany? Oh, this is something interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Have you heard about it, brother? Because I know about this. Oh, you don't know anything about it? Okay, so basically what happened was this morning, Malaysian time, some guy rammed a car into a Christmas market in Mendenburg, Germany. And then we found out, I mean, at least I found out after reading some comments on Twitter and, from the Dawah groups that I joined, that this guy was actually a Saudi atheist who exiled himself to Germany. He was granted refugee status in 2016, and the Saudis actually wanted him extradited back to Saudi. And he's an ex-Muslim, and he was very much involved in trying to get people from the Arab world to come to basically to escape the ex-Muslims from, or those who are apostatized in the Arab world to come to other countries and so on. So he actually has a website on that. So this guy also follows, guess whom? Ridvan, apostate prophet, and he follows and Tommy Robinson follows his Twitter account as well, and I believe that he was also influenced by David Wood. So this guy is the first radicalized person by state prophet who has
Yeah.
rammed into a group of people in Germany, and two died, by the way. One of them was a child. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story, and I have it on my tab, in my community tab. So anyone who wants to know about this can go to my community tab on my channel and read the information. Yeah. So maybe you have any initial thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like this kind of like murtads are like escaping Muslim countries. That's good. Don't come back. But,
Yeah, they can go and exile themselves. Go ahead, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so anyways, okay, let's go back to our agenda, all right? So again, okay, let's continue reading. So I'm gonna have to read I'm gonna have to start playing the videos shortly. Okay. So Brother Sydney Football says, let's keep Malaysia safe. Okay. Hamas has a base in Malaysia. Yes, they do have a HQ in Malaysia. So the Mossad had to fly to Malaysia to deal with it. Yeah, good luck with that because we have our own security forces to deal with them, inshallah. And then Brad Sydney says, as always, the Western news outlets portray him as a Muslim, even though he's an apostate Islamophobic Zionist. Yeah, he was a Zionist too. He's a Zionist as well. And then Sydney Football says Muslims have to get blamed anyway. Yeah, I believe that the Western media, they are so there's so much Islamophobia in them that they have to just find an excuse to hate Muslims. Okay, I'm going to start sharing the videos because we are running late. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so let's start. Okay, so this is a clip from France News 24. Okay, so this explains what happened when the rebels started their incursion from Idlib. Okay, moving onwards to Aleppo and all the other cities before they approach Damascus. So this was from about 2 weeks ago.
The Syrian and the Russian air forces are bombing areas controlled by rebels in the northwest of Syria. It comes after those rebels, led by the militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, launched an incursion and captured territory in the province of Aleppo for the first time in years. Our terrorism expert Wasim Nasser is here with us in the studio to tell us more about this. But Wasim, first of all, help us understand this story. What area of Syria are we talking about here, and what is it so far that's actually happened?
The most important part of it is that those fronts were freezed since like 5 years. And here we see it on a map. What's in green is rebel-held areas, HTS areas, red regime areas, and in blue, the evolution of the rebels' attack
Yeah.
headed by HTS since like a little bit more than 24 hours, meaning yesterday. And we know that a few hours ago they captured the town of Saraqib that we see south on the M5 highway, and the other town next to Aleppo, which is very important since in 5 years they didn't make any advancement on those borders. We have footage to prove that
It was
they
the
made those
initial. It
advances.
was the
The
initial
first video
assault.
was this one from Kaptan al-Jabal, where we see them coming into the town with the bulldozer. So after the beginning of the attack yesterday morning, we have another video at night yesterday on the outskirts of Sarakib that was taken today. And here's a Russian-made tank that was modified by HTS to make it a troops carrier, actually. And we have another footage from this morning from Jubas. Here it is, proving that they took the town. And another video too from the town of Uram from this morning at dawn too, where we see them roaming in the town. And another video from Badis, which is on the outskirts of Sarakib, which was
By the
taken.
way, can I
And we
say
see
something?
them here preparing.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah. So I find it interesting how the news title under there. Can you lift up the our?
Let me change
Our-
the.
Change that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah, that's better. That's better.
That's right.
Over
Right.
130 killed in army jihadist class. It's funny how they're being referred to as jihadist, right? Because it's funny because when it comes to describing the IDF, they don't say Jews, you know.
They don't,
So I
they
find that
don't,
interesting.
they don't say Zionist terrorists.
Yeah, yeah, they don't say that Zionists are like Jews killed or Jews are committing genocide.
Yeah,
They don't use that kind of language. So I find it
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
And I think
that's-
it's a old news, right?
yeah, this was before. This was during the time when the HTS was pushing onwards towards Aleppo. Yeah, they haven't taken over Aleppo yet at this time. Yeah, it was the first. This was the first news stories of the news that started to break out during that time. Yeah, yeah. Everyone was taken by surprise. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Another thing I've noticed is that when it comes to the like warfare, and the same thing happened in Bangladesh, by the way, which is that if you can basically take control of the capital, you basically have the country. You know, because the
Yes.
capital controls a lot of the countries, a lot of the
Yes.
different districts.
Of
So if
course.
you can control the capital, you basically control the country.
Yeah, that's what they.
This is
That's what they
basically
were aiming for. Yeah, yeah.
this is basically what happened with like many, even in Afghanistan and like in Bangladesh, like all the fighting mostly happened in the city, in the capital.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like there were skirmishes outside as well, but like capital was more like it was focused on.
The capital is always the crown jewel. You see, so if you take over the capital, basically you have the whole country in it. Because the whole administration is there in the capital. It's always like this. Yeah. I mean let's look at history. How did World War II end in Europe? Because the Allies and the Allied forces and Soviet Union at the time, they took over Berlin, right? So they split the partition into two because Berlin was the center. So Hitler and his regime, the Nazi regime, was there. So in order to bring down the whole of Nazi Germany, they had to push. I mean, they did D-Day. They went into Normandy and they managed to take over all the parts of France and all the places which the Nazi controlled at the time. But then they had to push towards Berlin because that's where the center is. So once Berlin falls, then the war is effectively over. Because if they just take over the outskirts of Berlin, but if they have not gone into Berlin, then the war will still be going on. You see? Yeah. So this is common sense, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, all wars are like this. Yeah.
Are you gonna watch this, or is there more videos?
There's actually a few more. So okay. Anyways, I think we don't have to watch the whole thing. So let's continue to.
Can I speed it up then?
Okay, I will try to. So there's the next video where this was 2 weeks before he marched into Damascus. So it's the interview, the famous interview between CNN and the rebel leader, who's now the de facto leader of Syria, who's normally is
we can watch that. We can watch that.
Yeah, sure. Let me change the setting, the playback speed. All right, so I'm going to make it a bit faster, and then I'm going to share the video. Yeah. There's just one more video after this, and then we are done. All right. So this is the second last video. Okay, so let me play this. Yeah. So this is the famous interview between him and CNN.
After taking it, how significant is this for you right now?
From a military perspective, what comes after Hama will not be the same as what came before. However, I prefer not to be overly optimistic during the battle. I like to remain cautious and vigilant to avoid complacency and ensure we don't suffer losses while believing we are safe.
What comes after this? What's after Hama.
The course of the battle, as for the secrets of the battle, let's leave them to the unfolding events. You will witness them in reality, which is better than discussing them now.
In a matter of days, you have taken major cities. What's changed? How are you able to do this now?
In recent years, there has been a unification of internal opinions and the establishment of institutional structures within the liberated areas of Syria. This institutionalization included the restructuring within military factions. They entered unified training camps and developed a sense of discipline. This discipline allowed them, with God's guidance, to engage in a battle in an organized manner. The progress and execution of plans have been swift, with clear communication and adherence to commands. They stop where they should stop and withdraw where they should withdraw. The revolution has transitioned from chaos and randomness to a state of order, both in civil and institutional matters and in military operations alike.
Some believe this is happening because the Allies.
You want to comment on something? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is important actually, which is that one thing you will understand about Jolani. By the way, there was a lot of criticism regarding this guy. You know, a lot of people say, you know, the Russian side, there's the Iranians, they're like upset. They're saying that only he was like part of ISIS. You know, he's a terrorist.
He was,
yeah.
though.
Yeah, he was part of ISIS. He was part of Al Qaeda. You know. And I find it interesting because, I mean, like Iran, like how many war crimes were Iran involved in? And how many war crimes were Russia involved in? You know?
Yeah, sure.
So, like,
what's happening now in Ukraine? How many war crimes are there right now in Ukraine? So
So I find it interesting that they will like blame him from simple association, by the way, which by the way is a fallacy, guilt by association. But the thing is that even if he was, let's say for sake of argument, that he was part of this kind of like Khariji groups, again, please note that Kharijis are only punished when they try to harm people. This is important to understand, right? So, and first of all, he's not been part of this group anymore. And secondly, even if, let's say for the sake of argument, he was, as long as he's not harming or trying to harm other Muslims and is willing to negotiate, you cannot like call him like even a Khariji at this point, right? Because the thing about Kharijis is that they're very destructive. You know, they're basically, their whole ideology is that it's about destruction. You know, we're gonna bring about a new like thing, and they'll have a lot of kind of deviant beliefs as well.
Yes.
And personally, I don't see that with ASSAD'S.
I don't see that with him as well. I mean, the way that he spoke either to the reporters, the way he presented his views, they were very calm. And actually, you're going to watch the next video will actually make that even more clear. Yeah. Go ahead.
By the way, did you watch Daniel's video on Syria? I was watching some of it.
I don't think so. I don't think I have. I haven't, because I have been very busy with other things.
He's clearly on the Iranian side.
Oh dear. Okay.
Take from that what you will, but
so maybe he's being paid by Russia.
No. I'm not saying that. Sometimes you have biases, not necessarily paid by money or anything like that. Sometimes you might have biases on one side. Because personally, like Daniel is from Iran, right? Like that's not.
He is.
It's not necessarily a crime to like support or not wanting a war in our country, right? Like I don't think we can personally blame him for that.
He's supposed to not be pro Shia, right? He's a Sunni now.
But still, like I'm not saying that he's just fully supporting like Iran, but like he has a bias there. But the thing is that what I was trying to say is that oh no, I forgot. So basically, so basically he organized all these different groups within this kind of like coalition of rebels, and that's actually very important because usually rebels would fight each other.
Which was also fought past few years.
I believe they also fought against Al Qaeda and ISIS.
They did. They did.
So I don't think it's fair to like say like they are like part of ISIS or whatever.
I mean, anyway, let's continue. Finish this. Let's finish this up, and then we read the comments, and then we play the last video, right? Before we close this.
Assad regime, the Russians, Hezbollah, Iran. They're preoccupied with other wars, and this is why we are seeing this happen right now. And the Syrian regime itself.
All right. I remember.
Is this why you chose
to
launch this offensive?
Okay, pause. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, the one of the criticism that Daniel was making against ASSAD'S was like not ASSAD'S necessarily, but like the Western media was that,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
look at how they're presenting, Jawlani, and then how they presented Yahya Sinwar,
Okay.
they like
Okay.
showed him as like this terrorist and whatever, but now they're like all of a sudden praising him and whatnot. So, and yet, like if you look at their like biography, it's not that different. As a matter of fact, Yahya Sinwar seemed less extreme and whatnot. To that, I say like I don't understand this comparison. Of course, when West will support anything that kind of serves their agenda, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same reason they support Saudi Arabia, because it serves their agenda. They will show Saudi Arabia in like a more positive light.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are right in everything they do. Like you can agree on some things and definitely disagree on other things. Like no one here is saying that the fact that Western media is giving a positive coverage to Syria is a bad thing. Like I don't think any Muslim would say that, right?
Yeah.
However, we would criticize their coverage of Palestinians. Like you can do both. Like there's no contradiction there.
Yeah.
You can criticize them when they do bad things. You can also praise them when they do good things. But here, they're definitely at least trying to give a fair and balanced reporting, which is not happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
So if you're consistent, you can criticize both aspects without necessarily contradicting, anything.
Good point. Yeah. Good point. Okay. Let me finish this up.
Sure. Right now.
As you know, we are still in the midst of the battle, and discussing such details at this time is not wise.
But you faced more of a resistance in Hama than you did in Aleppo. What do you think happened? Why did the regime withdraw like it did?
The seeds of the regime's defeat have always.
There's one thing I wanted to point out. Do you notice the flag behind him? Is the flag of the white flag of the Shahada, right? So if this guy is pro-Israeli, or if Israel is supporting him, then why does he have that flag? Would Israel want to support someone like that? Yeah, the thing about it. Yeah. For those who think that this guy is being, or HTS in general, is being supported by Israel. Okay.
We've been within it.
Another thing you have to understand is that
However,
the rebels are mostly Islamist. They're the Mujahideen. They want to establish Islamic law.
Yes.
If you look at most of the rebel groups, they're all like Islamists. Alhamdulillah, the Muslim brothers are fighters. Wherever you look, Mujahideen, they're fighters.
I don't think Israel want an Islamic state on their border. So
I don't think even if the leadership wanted like a full-on secular country, the rebel fighters of the Mujahideen brothers would allow that to happen. Like I don't think that they will allow that to happen.
Okay, let's finish this up.
Iranians attempted to revive the regime, buying it time, and later the Russians also tried to prop it up. But the truth remains: this regime is dead.
In the last year, it seemed like Bashar al-Assad survived the war. He was welcomed back into the Arab fold and on the world stage.
The Arab countries' evaluation of the situation was mistaken. Some Arab countries try to separate the regime from Iran's project. This is impossible. Even if the regime wanted this, it can't implement it. It's a subservient relationship. Iran can disengage from the regime, but the regime can't. To describe the regime as victorious is deeply unjust to the many children, people, women subjected to rape in prisons, displaced individuals scattered across the world, those drowning in the seas, and those living in tents on the borders of other countries. What kind of victory are we talking about?
In the past, you have talked about strict Islamic rule. Is that still the plan?
People who fear Islamic governance either have seen incorrect implementations of it or do not understand it properly. We are talking about something that aligns with the traditions and nature of the region. The most important thing is to build institutions. We are not talking about ruling by individuals or personal whims. It's about institutional governance. Syria deserves a governing system that is institutional, not one where a single ruler makes arbitrary decisions.
Many Syrians are happy and will be happy to see the end of the Assad regime, but they're also worried about what HTS rule would mean, including minorities.
No one has the right to erase another group. These sects have coexisted in this region for hundreds of years, and no one has the right to eliminate them.
It's funny that
protects and ensures the rights of all. Not a system that serves.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's funny, like what is it? CNN is saying this while genocide is going on
in Palestine.
Yeah. And when it comes to interviewing their leaders, none of these questions get brought up, which is interesting, right? Like no one asked Netanyahu about what's going to happen with the minorities in Israel. So, like, why is this being asked to him? But he's not even a proper kind of like, he's not even a formal leader of Syria yet, right?
Yeah, at this time. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't even ruling. I mean, he hasn't even taken over Damascus when this interview was at. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah. But anyways, okay, let's continue.
Yeah,
only
sure,
one
sure.
sect, as Assad's regime has done.
Listening to you speaking, you've gone through quite the transformation. Once an Al-Qaeda leader, your group has had affiliations with Al-Qaeda, with ISIS, and now you are projecting this image of a moderate leader and a moderate group. What is HTS right now?
هي تحرير الشام يعني ليست
Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is one of the factions in the region, just like all the others. Now we're talking about a larger project. We're talking about building Syria. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is merely one detail of this dialogue, and it may dissolve at any time. It's not an end in itself, but a means to perform a task.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, she said that like they're a moderate group. How? Like which part of like they seem moderate? Like they clearly want to establish Islamic law, so that's moderate.
Yeah, it's only
Like,
moderate.
by the way,
when
what's funny? What's funny is the Hamas is not even trying to do that. I mean, like Hamas for not like criticizing anything, but of course Hamas I think wants to have a Islamic law, but they're less kind of like strict than they are.
Yeah.
Where like they even have fighters from like the Uyghurs. They have units of like Uyghurs who want to take over China. Like, so which part of that is moderate?
It's only moderate to CNN if it's about serving American interests, but if it doesn't,
Yeah,
then
I mean that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. But the thing is that I think it's funny to notice how much of a hypocrite this Western kind of like media is.
Western media is hypocrite. Is basically a hypocrite. A hypocrite. So we know this, right? Yeah. So it's not surprising. Yeah, not surprising at all. But there are times when they actually do good reporting, and this is a good example of it, right? Yeah.
Confronting this regime. Once that task is complete, it will transition to a state of governance, institutions, and so on. I believe that everyone in life goes through phases and experiences, and these experiences naturally increase a person's awareness. A person in their 20s will have a different personality than someone in their 30s or 40s, and certainly someone in their 50s.
So are those days behind you?
Sometimes it's essential to adjust to reality, and because someone who rigidly clings to certain ideas and principles without flexibility cannot effectively lead societies or navigate complex conflicts like the one happening in Syria.
People listening to this are going to wonder why they should believe you. You are still a
something to
specially
say.
designated global terrorist by the United States.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think I find it interesting the way he's speaking.
Okay.
It's very similar to how like the Taliban spoke when they first came to power.
Yes, same thing. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they realize like they cannot like exactly make enemies of the West yet, but at the same time, you can clearly tell that they're going to establish Islamic law similar to what's happening in Afghanistan. But of course, like I don't think they agree with like the Taliban, obviously, or even ISIS.
In the next video, you actually see that. But okay,
yeah, or ISIS for that matter. Now, I believe there are some factions of ISIS left in Syria, but I don't think they will like remain there because they might just get incorporated into the different rebel sections.
Yeah.
So there is some like I understand like if you look at it from like a typical Syrian Muslim or Islamist perspective, like the Khariji groups are a danger. But the thing is that at this moment in time, like all Muslims have like one enemy, and that's Israel. So I think for now Muslims need to keep that in mind and be open-minded to like accept help, even if you have a religious kind of like difference. With like some groups that may have questionable beliefs.
Yeah.
As long as like you can help what's happening in Gaza and you can strengthen yourself, I think that's what's important. Especially, I think it's important to like unify Syria first, at least now.
That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to unify Syria first before thinking about other bigger matters, right? So
yeah.
I believe that eventually he's going to have to think about how to deal with Israel. But right now they are still in a weak position. They can't do anything about it. That is why they have.
Oh, by the way, do you have any videos on Erdogan? I think we didn't talk about this, but we need to talk about Turkey's involvement. Maybe another video, maybe.
I don't have that. I don't have that. I only have the ones on HTS. But anyways,
so maybe I'll just go briefly on Turkey's involvement on this.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Basically, the way kind of like Turkey got involved in this whole conflict is that Turkey has a dispute with like the Kurdish forces.
Yeah.
So in case you guys don't know, again, I'm not an expert on what's happening in like that region.
Yeah.
So basically, the Kurdish forces, they fought against ISIS, and they basically kicked them out. But the problem is that they're like the complete extreme opposite of ISIS. Like they're like extremely secular. So what they don't want any element of like Islamic law. They want Marxism or like kind of like leftist garbage ideology.
Okay.
And on top of it, they're also trying to kind of like destabilize Turkey in a way, and Erdogan has been worried about that for a very long period of time.
Okay.
He's been like the politics. Erdogan has oppositions that are leftist, and there are regions in Turkey that are more kind of like Kurdish based. So Erdogan has kind of like a lot of people speculate that he has worries that this kind of like revolution within this kind of like leftist revolution could boil into his own country and lead to civil war. Obviously,
Yeah.
no one wants that, right?
Yeah.
So as a result, he kind of helps these groups like HTS and others
Mm.
to take over and get rid of Assad. And this solves actually two problems for him. One is that there's a refugee crisis in Turkey. They have too many refugees, so the refugees can go back. And another one is that they now have established themselves as a geopolitical power in the region. That way, they can deter Israel from that side. So it is good in a way, even if you don't like Erdogan as a kind of like leader or
I
whatever.
personally don't like Erdogan because I think this guy is shit. Yeah, he has a history whom I do not like. Yeah, which I do not like.
Why don't you like him?
For one reason, one being he went against his teacher, so that's what I don't like about him. One particular reason. Yeah, I think you know who I'm referring to. Yeah,
No, not really.
he accused his teacher of trying to overthrow him during the last attempt by the army to overthrow him in 2000. When was it? 2006, 2016? I don't remember. But he accused his former teacher of being involved. So and then he started cracking down on his former teacher's organization. Yeah.
Who's his former teacher?
Should I mention names? He recently passed away. He was exiled himself to the US, and he passed away there about several months ago, I think. Yeah. Fethullah Gulen. I don't know whether you heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But I think the thing about Erdogan is that he's hard to predict. And another thing that is that when someone does something good, whether any Muslim, when he does something good, we should support it, and it benefits Islam, we should support it. If Erdogan can strengthen Syria, we should accept it. Especially now because they don't have any allies besides Turkey.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, they can have Western nations as allies, but no one wants that. Because what's going to happen? Do you think America is going to help them against Israel? No,
definitely not. Yeah.
So they need Turkey. They need a superpower like Turkey to help them with weapons and army and whatnot, so they can deter Israel instead of backing with like Iran. And this is something other people want. Like, would you prefer Iran, an alliance with Iran, or Turkey?
Definitely Turkey. Turkey. It goes without question. Okay.
Like, of course, you can have criticism of Erdogan, but I think we can agree that an alliance with Turkey would be better than alliance with
Of
Iran.
course, obviously. There's a no-brainer, brother. So anyway, let's finish out with the video before we move on.
$10 million bounty on your head. Your group is a prescribed terrorist organization by the United States, by the UN, by the EU, and others.
I say to people, don't judge by words, but by actions. I believe the reality speaks for itself. These classifications are primarily political and at the same time wrong. I define a terrorist as someone who intentionally kills civilians, harms innocents, or displaces people. If we're being honest, many of the wars waged by major powers in Arab, Muslim, and even non-Muslim countries have involved the deliberate killing of thousands, the destruction of homes, and the displacement of millions. Even the regime itself is guilty of such actions.
But the US and others would say is that you were parts of groups that did exactly that.
Personally, I have not done these things. The situation must be understood in its historical context. There was a massive war in Iraq that deeply stirred people's emotions, prompting many to go there. The circumstances of that war led people to various places, and my path led me to one of those locations. Given my level of awareness and my young age at the time, my actions evolved to where I am today. I didn't go to Iraq with those intentions. I went to defend the Iraqi people. When I returned to Syria, I didn't want...
Okay, you're going to finish out the film.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hilarious that she's asking you this. Like, dude, you guys literally back Israel. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You have, like, literally, can I say this word? Like, Israelis are literally arring Palestinians in prisons, right? They're literally doing the same thing Assad did.
Yeah.
Like, and you're giving them trillions of dollars. So, like, what? What minority right are you talking about?
Okay, just a few more minutes and a few more seconds actually, and then
want to bring what happened in Iraq into Syria. That's why there were disagreements between us and ISIS.
People would be wondering why you've agreed to speak with us.
What is happening in Syria is significant for the entire world. This event has positive repercussions globally because under the regime's rule, Syria became a source of concern and trouble for everyone. Stabilizing Syria will bring many people back. Today, in the liberated areas, about 1/3 of the population lives in camps, approximately 1.5 million people. I believe we can soon reach a point where there are no camps. With the rehabilitation of the liberated areas, people will return to their homes. Many refugees in Turkey will likely return, as will a significant number of refugees in Lebanon and Jordan. Even refugees in Europe may return to rebuild their country.
Fascinating interview there. I want to thank Monokratze.
Okay, and we are done. Yeah. So, any thoughts on it before we move on to the last video? I'll read the comments first, but before that, maybe you have any comments? Just a wrap up.
So basically, one thing regarding what's happening in Syria is that Syria is very important from Islamic point of view for Muslims.
Yes.
It's the country where Isa alayhi salam will ascend to before he fights Dajjal.
Yes.
So from a religious perspective, it's a very holy place actually. There's a lot of mosques, historic mosques there, and it's very important.
Yes.
So I think whatever background you're from, you should be happy that this place now belongs to Muslims who want to establish Islam.
Yeah.
So we should wish the best.
Not to deviant gulat groups like the Nusayris. Okay.
Yeah. And not the Alawites, So it's a good thing. Whatever background you're from, like even if you're like a Shia, right? I think you should be happy that at least it's at the hand of Muslims and not like, Assad or secularists, clowns that wants to destroy Islam. So like,
exactly.
The thing is that now what Syria has to do is that they have the geopolitics is complicated. I used to think that like apologetics is complicated, but geopolitics is like on another level. And especially like if you're thinking of from an Islamic point of view and what will benefit the Muslims, right now Syria has to balance a very fine line between having a somewhat beneficial relation with the West at the same time, have somewhat beneficial relation with like Turkey, and have the ability to at the same time to deter Israel and help the Palestinians.
Yes.
All of these three things seems contradictory, but they have to walk a fine line.
True.
So I think it's a very hard task that are ahead of them, and so hopefully may Allah help them and to make the right decision. And I pray for victory against any enemies of Islam, so they can establish Islamic law properly, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yeah. So anyways, okay. So I'm going to read some of the comments and then we're going to play the last video. So the last video is actually another interview between BBC and our friend there, Abu Muhammad Al-Jolani, or Ahmad Al-Shara, as he wants to call himself now. So let me read the comments first. Right. So there's this sister, Amatur Rahman. She says, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Walaikum salam.
Walaikum assalam.
Yeah. And then I think Brother Sydney just commented to your comments about Daniel. So yeah, unfortunately, Daniel Hakaju is starting to say very wild things. I think it's not just that alone; it's other things as well, right? I think there was this something he mentioned about Istighatha. I think, I don't know. I don't know whether you watched that video. I think it was maybe this one he did last night, which I saw a bit of it. But I think Jake commented on it. So anyways, then Brother Sydney says, not sure if I should boycott him. I learned a lot from him. Nah, you shouldn't boycott him, man. Don't boycott him, okay? Please don't.
It depends though. Like when it comes to apologetics, I think he has beneficial material. But if you're gonna learn Aqidah or like, this kind of like geopolitical stance, I think personally I would prefer, at least for now, Brother Jake the Muslim Administration, he's doing good work. So
Jake has his problems too. Okay, Jake is not perfect. He also has his
problems. He's not perfect. He has his problems.
He has his issues too, which I don't agree with. But
no one's perfect, So anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, okay, Brother Sydney with his emojis. Okay, and then I think this is his commentary on the CNN. Double standards are as clear as day. I think it's so obvious to all of us, right?
Yeah, but how many people are watching?
Oh, by the way, we have 9 people watching the stream now. So at one point it was actually 10. It was about 10 or 11 just now. Okay, it dropped to 7, and then at 9.
Your streams are on fire, man.
I hope
you're
so.
Like a celebrity. You're like a celebrity.
I mean, I'm quite well known, I hope. Okay, but I'm not. I guess I'm not really, but because I haven't been doing live streaming for quite some time. You see, so this is my first live streaming after a very long time. So thank God that people are still watching me. I'm really grateful
But
to those who are watching.
by the way,
Yeah.
speaking of which,
Yeah.
I have a video upcoming. I'm making a
Okay.
video on capturing Christianity. So
Okay.
look out for that, inshallah.
Okay.
It's like this guy has been turned into full, like he went to the Islamophobe factory and he been turned into a full packaged Islamophobe by David Wood and APOS. He got
Not
the full training.
Not surprised.
So debunking a lot of the nonsense has been
Yeah.
thrown
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah,
inshallah, look out for that.
I have some videos as well. Which I'm doing. Okay, so it's involves. I don't know whether you heard of this guy Chris at Speaker's Corner. So I'm actually doing some of his videos as well. So right now I'm doing some AI music about him. So because I need some time to prepare the other videos. So you could say that the AI songs are like a filler before we go to the main course. Okay. So I mean I don't want to have 3 months of emptiness, no videos uploaded before moving on to his video. So I decided to have some content at least mocking him and doing some diss tracks on him. So that should be fun. That is fun. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. So anyways, okay. So now this is the last video. Okay.
Yeah.
This was released yesterday. Yesterday. So this is very new. Okay. So so let's just have I've already set the speed to be faster. It's only 5 minutes long. So if I set up the speed, so it should be shorter than 5 minutes. It should be about 3 minutes. Okay.
The de facto leader of Syria, Bashar, chose to do the interview in the presidential palace built by the ASSAD'S. He told me he wasn't surprised that the old regime collapsed so quickly.
By the way, this was the former palace of Assad. So look at the luxury. My God, look at this. You can see his marble and my God, this is expensive, man.
Syrians, he said, needed to keep calm, to tackle all the problems they face. You've made a lot of promises. You said that you'll respect the mosaic of different sectarian groups here in Syria, minorities as well. Are you going to keep those promises?
The Syrian population has lived together for thousands of years. We're going to discuss all of it. We're going to have dialogue and make sure everyone is represented. The old regime always played on sectarian divisions, but we won't.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
You know, after Bangladesh got freedom, second freedom,
okay,
the Indian media or kind of like Indian allied media were asking the same question to some of the rebels. They were like, "What's gonna happen to the Hindus? You know, what's gonna happen to all these Hindus? You know, now that you have like kind of Islamists now out of jails,
surprised, man.
What's gonna happen to them? You know, they're gonna eat everybody. You know, they're gonna kill all the babies." What's gonna happen?
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, but the situation in Bangladesh is a bit different, as you mentioned earlier. But I kind of find it funny.
To be honest, there are some similarities. Like, India is a regional power.
Okay.
And they are pushing like against Bangladesh a lot. Actually, they're doing a lot of media play, putting out fake news about Hindus supposedly getting persecuted. All fake news, by the way. So they're doing a lot of this, and the news media here are actually debunking a lot of this. So they're not doing very well. But the point is that they're definitely doing media play to try to make it seem like that Bangladesh is some kind of like a terrorist country, so that they can come and invade.
Okay, so following that, I would like to ask this question, and I hope you don't mind me asking this. So, what is the situation now in Bangladesh in terms of Indian influence over the political scene? Is the transitional government trying to divert or trying to reduce the influence of India on Bangladesh at the moment?
Yeah. There's like a Cold War between Bangladesh and India.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
It's similar to what happened with like Soviet Union and America. There's like a Cold War, mostly information warfare. You know, they're putting out fake news, and we're like countering them.
That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, obviously on the front, like relations are normal, but Bangladesh is also kind of like making deterrents. So we're not solely dependent on India. We're making alliances with Pakistan and other Muslim countries, which is a good step.
Yeah, that's a good start.
And we also have like some of the Islamist parties coming out. They've become more popular, so hopefully something can happen there.
So if you don't mind me asking, what were relations like between Bangladesh and Pakistan before Sheikh Hasina or during Sheikh Hasina's time?
It was bad. I think she kind of like used her platform to kind of like spread kind of like propaganda against Pakistan, and like they're saying like anyone who like likes Pakistan is like a Rajakar or whatever.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
So
okay.
it's kind of like fake narrative to like divide
Oh,
people.
she's trying to relate
What
those
happened
who
in 1971 war? Yeah.
the 1970 the liberation war with what happened with the relationship with those who won the relationship with Pakistan, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, yeah,
This is
sounds like
basically a tactic to make sure that Bangladesh is loyal to India, right? But the thing is that in 1971, the country that benefited the most was India. And if things stayed as it is, there's a strong chance that Bangladesh could have been like taken over.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, we got free.
Okay. But anyways, I think that should be like for another live stream, because I wanted to ask you about the liberation war. I mean, or the war between Pakistan and Bangladesh and all these things. But I don't think it's relevant to this stream.
I could recommend you some books written by historians.
You
at the time.
should. Yeah, you should. Maybe after the stream, right? Yeah, after the stream. Yeah. So anyway, let's continue playing this. Just a few more seconds, I think, minutes, I think.
We were welcomed in all the big cities by all the sects. I think the revolution can contain everybody.
So this isn't going to be some kind of a caliphate, or you're not going to make Syria into a country like Afghanistan, because you know that there are people who say that maybe you want to behave like the Taliban.
There are many differences between Syria and the Taliban. The way we govern is different. Afghanistan is a tribal community. Syria is completely different. The people just don't think in the same way. The Syrian government and the ruling system will be in line with Syria's history and culture.
So the culture of Syria includes rights for women, it includes education for women, it includes tolerance for people drinking alcohol. Is that all acceptable to you?
When it comes to women's education, of course, we've had universities in Idlib for more than 8 years. I think the percentage of women in universities is more than 60%.
And alcohol?
There are many things I just don't have the right to talk about because they are legal issues. There will be a Syrian committee of legal experts to write a constitution. They will decide. And any ruler or president.
Why does every Western country want to talk about alcohol? We must have alcohol.
Getting people drunk is the most important right. Getting drunk is my right, damn it.
Yeah, getting drunk is a human right. We must all get all drunk. We must get drunk. We must have alcohol regardless, because that's minority rights.
What I like the way he answered is that he didn't say that Islamic law won't be a thing. He simply said that yes, Islamic law will be a thing, but it will be a thing based on our culture and our context, right? Because there's room for that in Islamic law, right?
Yes.
So and I think he's kind of like taking that to mean, that means he's gonna establish secularism and democracy. It's funny.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like that to me at all, but maybe the Western media has a different idea, you see?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, let's continue.
We'll have to follow the law.
Let's talk about wider issues that you face. First of all, this country is broken. There is massive amount of destruction. The economy is destroyed. There are huge debts. How do you begin to start dealing with all of that when the country is under sanctions, and when major powers around the world and the United Nations say that you are the leader of a terrorist group?
That's a political classification. We haven't committed any crimes that justify calling us a terrorist group. In the last 14 years, we haven't targeted any civilians or civilian areas or civilian targets. I understand some countries will be worried by that designation, but it's not true. Now, after all that has happened, sanctions must be lifted because they were targeted at the old regime. The victim and the oppressor should not be treated in the same way.
Now, Bashar struck me as a highly intelligent and
So, and here, so what do you think?
I think Syria is, for now, it seems like they're in good hands, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And, at least on the people on the ground are very religious, that's for sure. All the soldiers definitely want to establish Islamic law, and
definitely.
That's clear. I think the people, even the people who are secularly aligned, don't really care about secularism anymore, considering what they went through.
Yeah.
So now is the right time to implement Islamic law and at the same time rebuild Syria.
Yeah.
And I think Syria needs to establish a strong relation with countries beside Turkey, countries like Bangladesh, Malaysia, and I think Muslim countries need to help them rebuild themselves.
Yeah.
So that we can have a strong presence amongst ourselves. And as I mentioned, I think we also need to have some kind of deterrence against foreign spy agencies like RAW, like IDF. Sorry, I mean Mossad.
You mean, yeah.
Yeah, because they can do a lot of damage. So definitely they need to do some kind of spy agency, something that can deter these kind of like Mossad agents from infiltrating their ranks.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, yeah, overall things seem hopeful, and we make dua for our Syrian brothers and sisters,
Inshallah,
so
I mean,
that,
yeah.
and those that we lost along the way, and
Yeah.
hopefully we also pray for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. Hopefully
course.
one day the Syrian brothers and sisters in Gaza, they can fight together to liberate al-Aqsa, inshallah.
Inshallah. So so I think this is probably a wrap now, because we don't have any. Do you have anything else to add? Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's one small thing I wanted to ask. I don't know if you saw. There's like this news of like many kind of like Uyghur fighters inside Syria, inside this rebel group.
I haven't seen that video though. But although I know of these foreign fighters, but I don't really. I haven't seen any video of that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of foreign fighters. One of them was like a group that's mostly made up of like Uyghurs. It kind of made
Okay.
me happy to see how Muslims support each other, even though they themselves are like victims of oppression.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
definitely gives me hope, and I don't believe that people or the fighters that are on the ground will turn a blind eye to what's happening in Palestine. I do believe they will help, inshallah, when they have the strength, and I
also
do
will.
believe they will send whatever aid the Palestinians need.
Better
And
still if they march into Gaza and help the Palestinians military.
and they have
Because, you know what I think about Gaza now, because it has come to a point where, I mean, we can give them blankets, we can give them monetary support, we can give them food or water or whatever, but in the end, how long are we going to do this if the main problem, which is basically Israeli incursion or Israeli attacks on Gaza, is going to, when is it going to end? Because no matter how many times Malaysia has built hospitals in Gaza. All these hospitals are now bombed. We can build so many hospitals in Gaza, build many times, rebuild homes many times over. But each time Israel comes in, they will just destroy everything. So the only way to stop this is actually to have a military deterrent, so that these Zionist forces would think twice about trying to go into Gaza.
Yeah, I think right now what Syria needs to do is strengthen its defenses, especially air defenses, because that's their biggest strength. It's air military.
Yes, that's right.
And so they need like some kind of like air defense.
Yeah, they need some anti-air batteries or something.
Something 100 times better than like Iron Dome, so they can their skies are protected, both from missiles and like air carriers.
Yeah,
aircrafts.
Yeah. Basically, they need because Israel right now is doing the incursions into Syria and bombing Damascus and all these places where they have military bases. You see, so I don't understand.
They also need kind of hackers, so to hack some Israeli.
But I think the country is in ruins right now, so I'm not sure about the internet infrastructure there. So they have to probably rebuild from there first.
They have to rebuild, obviously.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the internet situation though in Syria. I'm not sure whether they even have a infrastructure now, because it's so horribly destroyed. Yeah. Considering what Assad has done, he's taking all the money and he's making luxurious palaces, but he's not giving his people food. Oh my God, it's horrible, man. It's really horrible. Yeah. So, anyways, the stream has been running for about 2 hours, and we have 9 people watching this live stream right now. Okay, not bad.
Nice.
Not bad. It's not bad, isn't it? Yeah. Did you advertise this stream on your channel, by the way?
Yeah.
No wonder. Maybe there are some viewers from your channel. See?
Maybe it's possible. Actually, a lot of them are subscribed to my channel. I think Brother CD Football is subscribed to my channel.
Yeah.
I also invite the other anyone who's watching to subscribe to my channel, inshallah.
Yeah, of course. If anyone who wants to anyone who wants to continue watching or wants to subscribe, please do subscribe to this brother's channel. Islamic Calling. Okay.
Subscribe to my channel and his channel.
I'm pretty sure they are already subscribed to mine, so it's not a problem. Yeah, I think about your channel, I think people should take a look at it. Yeah, inshallah. Yeah. So I guess we can call it a day now. We can wrap this up. Yeah. So do we have any future plans for any future live streaming? Maybe you want to share some ideas.
Actually, let's do a live stream next week on my channel. inshallah.
Inshallah.
Let you know the details later on. Basically, I want to do a video on David Wood. I've been itching to do
What
one
did he do
with
this
you.
time? What did he do?
Well, I mean,
I
not
haven't been
getting.
following, so I don't know what happened. Yeah. What did he do?
So he made a video, I think 20-minute video, ranting
Okay.
about how Islam, Prophet Sallallahu didn't do any miracles, and he presents all these kind of like rubbish arguments.
It's really dumb. I have a whole book. I have a whole book of hadiths with the title "The Prophet Muhammad's Miracles." Okay, so this thick. The book is this thick, and this idiot is telling me, that idiot called David Wood is telling me that the Prophet didn't do any miracles. When there's a whole hadith collection. I mean, it's compiled from different collections, of course. It's compiled into one book, and the title is "The Prophet Muhammad's Miracles." Heaven's sakes, man! Be real, man, David. Oh my God, there's so many things about this, man.
We might do a reaction to that, inshallah, on my channel. So
Can I read excerpts from that book, because I want to show it?
Sure.
Yeah,
So
I have the book.
we might do a reaction to that. And another thing I wanted to mention actually, which is escaping me now, but yeah, inshallah, I'll bring it up later on.
Okay, sure.
But,
Yeah, sure. So, okay, I guess with this, we can end the stream. So, thank you, my 10 viewers who are watching this stream right now, by the way, and 10 viewers now, by the way. Awesome.
Nice.
But, it's not bad, man. I mean, I'm really surprised that people are actually watching this stream, but well, unfortunately, our comments are not that heavy, though. I mean, there are a few people who might know, but
is there a glitch maybe?
I don't know. I don't know because there's only a few comments, but even though we have like 8 now, okay, dropped down to 8 now, but just now it was 10. But no, I don't think all these 8 people are actually commenting, so maybe just a few of them are commenting. But anyways, I do
say something in case you're still watching. Comment.
Sorry.
No, I was telling them to comment.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who are watching, please do comment and say hi at the very least. Okay.
Yeah.
I think, but maybe they just don't want to. Maybe they're just shy. They just don't want to comment. I don't know.
Sure.
Oh man, my stream just went up to 9 people now. Okay, people are actually watching this, man. Okay, so, anyways, but we have to leave now. We have been talking for the past hours, and I think Brother Islamic Calling has other things to do as well, as do I. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this live stream. Hopefully, there will be another one on Brother Islamic Calling channel. Obviously, I will share the link on my community tab, and I will probably do another live stream next week. My monthly, or I like to call it my monthly live Q&A sessions, which I used to do for several weeks, months ago.
All right. Actually, I remember what I wanted to talk about. It's about the Prophet Sallallahu. I forgot to mention.
Okay, go ahead.
I forgot to mention this. So, a lot of people are saying that how a lot of the prophecies of the Prophet Sallallahu are coming true, especially regarding end times. You know.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like I think when it comes to prophecies, obviously we shouldn't make any speculation. But if you look at the way things are progressing, it seems like things are moving very fast. Especially if we look at how Hasina fell and how Assad fell. It happened so fast. Like people couldn't imagine this. Like you had like 15 people with like 15 years of rule and people with like 20 years of rule just overthrown in a night, in a day. I mean, like Hasina escaped in a few days. She had a rule of like 15 years.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Afghanistan. I mean, the whole government fell in a few days. When the fighting was going on for like 20 years. So this definitely shows how, no matter how powerful you think these people are, I also know that I can simply do this and it's over.
Yeah.
And I would tell all the Muslims to be patient regarding this kind of like geopolitical events. No matter how bad things may seem, remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always in control. And another thing to keep in mind is that things like if the prophecies are true, things may become worse before they become better. So as Muslims, we have to be patient, until of course Mahdi shows up, if that is the direction we're heading.
Of course.
So we have to be patient, and if there's like some massive defeat that comes for the Muslim side, don't lose hope. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does have a plan. So that's what I want to say.
Okay. So I guess we'll end the stream. Thank you very
Yes.
much for joining this live stream. For those of you who have with us, about 6 viewers now, or I think some of them left. Yes, but anyways, thank you very much for joining, and inshallah I'll see you again in a future live stream. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And yeah.